Hello, I am Angie Christensen, and I am the owner and creator of Simply Divine Eating and Simply Divine Healing. And for over a decade now, I have been teaching, helping to empower people and equip them with the tools to help facilitate their own healing. But today I want to talk about something that I have not talked about very openly in the past, and that is about dealing with mental and emotional health challenges. In our family, this is something we have experienced in really dramatic and many numerous ways. We have experienced both the crucible of dealing with severe mental and emotional health challenges on a daily basis, but we have also experienced the light on the other side of watching those things be healed and be lifted from our shoulders. And so I want to share just a couple stories with you today really quickly to offer you some hope of the healing that really is possible. Now, I have experienced anxiety and depression all of my life. Like I can look back in my past when I didn't even know what those were and yet see how they haunted my life. And then as I became an adult, starting to become aware of what that was that I was dealing with. But there have been some times in my life where those have been exacerbated. And one of those was when we were in the process of our international adoptions. We have 2 internationally adopted kids, and international adoption is intense and incredibly stressful, especially towards the end when you're trying to coordinate all of these hoops between multiple governments and travel and all of these things that have to come together to get these kids home. And in both of our international adoptions, I experienced both severe depression and panic attacks. And I remember once in our last adoption, fortunately by that time, I had been trained in homeopathy. And if you're not familiar with homeopathy, it is not like essential oils. It's not like herbs. It doesn't mean just holistic medicine in general. Homeopathic medicine is its own school of medicine. It is practiced the world over. It's the second most common form of medicine worldwide. And it has enormous power with mental and emotional health issues, more than anything I have seen in all of the 18 years that I have been working with the mental and emotional health challenges in our family. And when we hit this last adoption and I was having panic attacks, my husband was able to give me the homeopathic remedies that I needed. And I was able to go from shaking, not being able to breathe, honestly feeling like I was going to die, to having the shaking stop, the panic cease, and being calm within 10 minutes. And because I had had panic attacks in our previous international adoption when I did not have that resource, I knew the difference, and I was floored. And with suicidal and dark depression, you know, that kind of depression where you describe it as a cloud because you just can't see out. You cannot see the light. You cannot see the hope on the other side of it. And experiencing with homeopathy within a matter of about 3 to 4 hours, it being like someone had opened the blinds and turned on all the lights. And though the difficult situation was still there, it was like, oh, somehow it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. And when you have experienced that transformation, when you know the depths of the darkness and you experience the light turning on, and it can happen that quickly and that easily, it is something you do not forget, and it is something that you want more in your life. And so by the time we brought our little girl home on our last adoption, I had experienced those shifts dramatically myself. And then we got this little girl. And I know that I was led to homeopathy before we adopted her because it has been really the only thing that has saved her and us in her adoption process because of the amount of trauma and things that she has brought with her. But one of the examples of that was that when we were on the airplane home, we learned accidentally for the first time that if you touched this little girl while she was sleeping, she became hysterical, like caged animal hysterical, clawing, screaming, scratching, just absolutely hysterical. And on the airplane home, we ended up locked in the bathroom on the airplane for hours trying to calm this little girl down. And then when we got her home, it would happen. If we touched her, tried to move her, cover her with a blanket, help her at all during the night. And they were just devastating experiences for her and us. They were just horrendous. And after that had happened a couple times and we could see the pattern of what was going on, we decided to try to use homeopathy with her. And really the only challenge with homeopathy is finding the right remedy. You have to match it to the symptoms that are showing themselves. The beauty of that is you don't need a diagnosis. You don't need to know what happened. We didn't need to know whatever had happened in this little girl's life. We only needed to know what was happening in her present. And we were able to treat that present with homeopathy and watch those rages disappear in less than 5 minutes, and her be able to roll over and go back to sleep. And after doing that maybe 4 or 5 times, they completely disappeared. Because that's what homeopathy does. It goes to the deep, dark corners of our being and it drags out those ugly things that are really at the bottom of our mental and emotional health issues, and it just dissolves them. And this little 6-year-old girl completely lost that trauma trigger within a matter of weeks with homeopathy. And I want to ask you, how many years of her life of therapy would that have taken, if ever, to remove that trigger she had from her past? And with homeopathy, it took weeks. You know, we have watched this with our other kids as well. I have a child on the spectrum, and homeopathy can calm the meltdowns, the reactions to things, the anxiety, those things, so that he can do something as simple as go to church with us, which before was not even working at all. You know, just so powerful. My other son is what you call a freeze kid. If you know, with trauma, like fight, flight, or freeze. He was a freeze kid, and the reaction to his childhood trauma was if anything stressful happened, his body would freeze, glaze over, eyes unresponsive, couldn't talk to you, couldn't hear you, could not interact with you. And those could last hours when we first brought him home from the orphanage. And with homeopathy, those have disappeared 80 to 90%. Like, it's just amazing to watch how homeopathy can heal. And so I really want to invite you. For the first time, I'm going to be teaching a class on using homeopathy to overcome mental and emotional health challenges. And I want to invite you to attend, whether you can come in person, whether you attend virtually. What I want to offer is hope and healing. And so I want to invite you to come to learn about homeopathy, to learn what it is, to understand how it works, what makes it different from the other types of medicine that we're acquainted with, the rules so that you can use it effectively, and then stories and applications so that you know how this really applies directly to mental and emotional health, because the power is dramatic. You know, if you think about the power of reaching even one soul that is so desperate that they do not see a way out, and homeopathy has the power to reach hundreds, thousands, millions, because it is simple, it is cheap, it is easy, and it really does heal at the deepest level. So I invite you to join me. I will put the link below, and together we can look at these challenges that so many of us bear today and some of the tools that can help to loosen those challenges, to regain joy, and most of all, to have hope. And for those of you who can't join me at the live conference, I invite you to visit my website, www.simplydivineeating.com. Just click on the classes tab, and under there you will find the Family Homeopathy course, which is a 6-part course that will introduce you to how homeopathy works and teach you how to apply it to things as wide as first aid, chronic illness, as well as mental and emotional health. All of those things that will help you be able to have the tools you need to get started using homeopathy to bring healing in your own family. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to visit me on Facebook on the Simply Divine Eating community group. That's my Q&A hub where we can talk and answer questions and follow up with anything that you need. So whether I see you at a live conference, on the website, or on Facebook, I hope you will reach out and find whatever resources you need to help your family to heal.